Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're taking a journey between two of the most famous documents in American history. We're going to see how a really radical promise, one made on paper way back in 1776, ended up leading to a powerful demand, one that was forged in the fire of a battlefield 87 years later.
And it really all comes down to this one question. What's the difference between an idea and a demand? What's the real difference between just saying you believe in something and actually demanding that people live up to that belief? Well, believe it or not, the Declaration of Independence and the Gettysburg Address give us an amazing answer to that very question. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack right now.
All right, so let's jump right in. Part 1, the Founding Promise. You got to remember, back in 1776, the Declaration of Independence wasn't just some breakup letter to King George of England. It was way more than that. It was basically a mission statement for a whole new country, built on an idea that was, for the time, completely revolutionary.
And this right here, this is the heart of the whole thing. This single sentence was the promise. Think about it like this. It's like they were writing down the rules for a brand new club, saying, okay, these are the core beliefs, the things we all agree to live by. It was so bold, so new, and it really set the stage for everything that was going to follow.
So, what did created equal even mean back then? Honestly, this was a totally wild idea. You had a world that was run by kings and queens and nobles, a world where you were born into your station in life. And this document comes along and says, nope. Nobody is born better than anyone else. Your worth doesn't come from your family name, but just from the simple fact that you're human.
And liberty, what was that about? Well, in 1776, liberty meant one big thing: freedom from a tyrannical king an entire ocean away. It was all about the right for people to form their own government, a government that gets its power from them, from the people, not the other way around. It's this core idea that you should have a say in the rules you have to live by.
Okay, so a huge promise gets made, but, a promise is really just words until it's put to the test. And that brings us to part 2, the ultimate test. We're going to fast forward 87 years, and that founding promise, well, it was on trial for its life.
So this 87-year gap, this is exactly what Abraham Lincoln was talking about. You know that famous opening to the Gettysburg Address 77 years ago? He wasn't just trying to sound poetic. It's actually a math problem. A score is just an old way of saying 20 years. So 4 times 20, that's 80, plus 7, 87. He was being super specific, deliberately, and directly tying the unbelievable sacrifice of the Civil War right back to that promise from 1776.
You see, he kicks off his speech by reminding everybody of the exact reason the country was started in the first place. He's pretty much saying, hey, remember that club we all started and that core belief we had? That is what this is all about. He's putting the Declaration's promise front and center, right where no one can ignore it.
And this just shows you what was at stake. For Lincoln, the Civil War wasn't just some fight over land or politics. It was deeper than that. It was the ultimate test. Could a nation that was built on this radical idea of equality, could it actually survive? Or was that incredible founding promise just a nice idea that was, doomed to fall apart in the real world?
But Lincoln's speech wasn't just some history lesson. No way. It was a really powerful call to action for the future. And this brings us to part 3, the unfinished work. This is the moment where that old idea starts to transform into a new demand.
This chart just lays it all out so perfectly, doesn't it? The Declaration stated the proposition, the theory, the idea. Then the Gettysburg Address comes along and frames the entire war as the test of that very same idea. It's a straight line, connecting the ink of 1776 to the blood of 1863.
And this is the pivot point of the whole speech. Lincoln turns from the past to the present. He looks to the audience, to all the living, and he uses this incredible phrase, the unfinished work. So just think about that for a second. If the promise of equality was already made, what work could possibly be left unfinished? And this right here, this was Lincoln's powerful demand, a new birth of freedom. He was basically saying that it's not enough anymore to just say we believe in equality as some nice founding principle. The sacrifice of all those soldiers on that field meant that the nation had to be reborn, but this time with a real, active, hands-on commitment to making that idea a reality for every single person. So, let's wrap this all up. Part 4, from idea to action.
What we've really been tracking here is the incredible journey of a promise, from words written in a quiet room in Philadelphia, all the way to a horrific, bloody battlefield in Pennsylvania.
So here's the key takeaway. It's this two-step evolution. First, back in 1776, the founders declare a promise. They state that equality is a basic, self-evident truth. But then, 87 years later, Lincoln stands at Gettysburg and demands that the nation finally do the hard, painful work of making that truth a lived reality for all.
And if you remember just one thing from this explainer, let it be this. One document made a beautiful and radical promise. The other document turned to the American people and, in the memory of its dead, demanded that they finally, truly keep it.
Which, of course, leaves us with one last big question. Lincoln called the struggle for a true and equal nation the unfinished work. He passed that job, that responsibility, on to every generation that followed him, including us. So the real question we have to ask ourselves is, what does that unfinished work look like today?